Welcome back, movie lovers. I'm Josh.
And I'm Chris.
And with our powers combined, we are Garner Brothers Movie Lovers.
We're talking about The Eternals, Marvel's latest and worst reviewed film of all time.
Yep. Yeah, The Eternals is about the Justice League.
Superman's in it. The Flash is in it.
Wonder Woman's in it. And Alfred.
Green Lantern's kind of in it.
I guess I should give more real context. There are three major new things that they introduce in this movie. We have Celestials, which are like super beings that create life in the world and stuff. If you remember in Guardians of the Galaxy, the planet Nowhere is the head of a Celestial.
That's right.
And then we have Eternals, which are like the Silver Surfer to the Celestial. They go...
If you get comic lore.
So they go down to Earth and they destroy the third thing they introduce, which are deviants. And the Eternals were sent to Earth at 5,000 BC, is that what it said?
That's what it said.
And you see them kicking some deviant butt, and then around like 500 BC or something, they eliminate all the deviants. I might have those numbers wrong, but at some point they eliminate all the deviants, and then modern day the deviants are back and we're running amok. But everybody's broken up. Like the Beatles. And now they have to
get the band back together.
Yep. And in the meantime, all the Avengers will just watch.
Yeah, the Avengers apparently have no idea that any of this is happening. 1 million people are in this movie. Gemma Chan is the main character, Richard Madden, Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Kit Harington, Kumail Nanjiani is my favorite character, Liam McHugh, Brian Henry, Lauren Ridloff, Barry Keoghan, Ma Dong-seok, that suck.
Here's
the film is directed by Chloe Zhao. She also wrote the screenplay with like 3 other people.
Oh, okay.
Patrick Burley, Ryan Furpo, and Cass Furpo.
They're like, he did screenplay, and then he also did story, and then he also did...
Yeah.
Let's talk music real quick.
The music is by Ramin Djawadi. And it was... I noticed it a couple of times, and I liked it.
There was some vocal, like, chorus stuff happening at the end that was kind of cool.
What'd you like about it?
I'm going to confess something that maybe some people won't like. I don't know if I know of an Angelina Jolie movie that I like. Can you think of any off the top of your head? Any that you love? There's a few that I think those are fine, but there's a lot that I think are so dumb.
Is she the main character in The Bone Collector with Denzel Washington?
Oh, maybe.
I caught that on TV one time. That was really good.
Hello there, Garner Brother Josh here to interrupt and say there is one Angelina Jolie movie I really like, and it's Kung Fu Panda. Here's the thing I was going to say. She does really good as a supporting actress, I think. I liked her a lot in this movie, and I really liked what they did with her character.
I also liked what they did with her character. It was different than what I expected her to be from the preview. From the preview, It looked like she was going to be kind of like a character that we've seen her play before a few times, but... in this case, I think she was different.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
What did you like about it?
There were some really funny things in the film, especially with the characters from India.
Oh my gosh.
Really, really funny. Also, the beer that one guy makes. So there were moments that made me laugh quite a bit. But the thing is... those moments don't come until quite a ways into the film. So I thought we were going to deal with like a movie that has DCEU levels of seriousness for the entire film. And finally, there was some comic relief that came into the film.
It did take about 45 minutes to get to something that wasn't just heavy. But you did get there, and it came out of nowhere. It went from being very, very heavy to a Bollywood production. And that fast. And it was...
And it's great.
Wonderful. I will say this as well. I always hate the way that they portray super speed characters in movies. And they didn't do it in this movie, and I respect the heck out of that.
Wow.
Okay, Spider-Man. The very first Spider-Man was Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
When his spider senses kick in, everything slows down.
Uh-huh.
Not because he has super speed, because he has spider senses.
Okay.
If you have super speed, the world around you doesn't slow down. You're moving fast. It may seem like the rest of the world moves slow sometimes, but when you move super fast, you're not going to be able to have that kind of detail-oriented X-Men Days of Future Past scene where you do all that stuff, which is an extremely entertaining and hilarious scene, and I love that scene.
Yeah, that scene's great.
But I don't like the way they did it. It's not how I think the real science of super speed works.
Yeah, let's be a little more scientific about this. The story was a little twisty. I kind of appreciated that. There are things you really don't know what's going on for a long time in the film. Things are revealed as you go along that change what you understand about the whole world building that they've done for this. And so if you can be patient and wait and not understand things for a long time, the story itself is a little complicated in ways that I kind of appreciate.
I can agree with that. Do you have more good things you want to say about it?
Nope.
Okay. So, along the same lines as that, there were twists and things that were happening throughout the movie where I thought they were setting something up that I thought would have been very clever. And then they didn't do that. And then I just thought, why did this character doesn't even need to be in this movie. There's some missed opportunities, I think, there. There's way too many things going on in this movie. I checked my phone. I know you're not supposed to do that at the movies. But I did, because there was a moment where all of a sudden I felt like, okay, I know what's happening now. There was, like you said, some twists and turns, so you don't kind of know what's happening. But also, there's an hour of this movie where it doesn't feel like you don't know what's happening because there's twists. It feels like you don't know what's happening because nothing is happening for an hour.
Yeah, they're getting the band back together for a long time.
They give you everything you need to know about those three things I mentioned in a text scroll at the beginning. And then it takes an hour to get to the story.
Partly because there are flashbacks galore.
It is so confusing.
This movie jumps back and forth from present to past and different places in the past because they've been on Earth for the last 7,000 years. So
it's way too much.
It keeps jumping back and forth. So it's really almost, it's like nonlinear storytelling.
They're sort of, but in a really dumb way. I feel like flashbacks are usually not very helpful in storytelling. And in this case, I feel like it hurt more than it helped.
I kind of agree with that. I don't know how they could have done it better, but here's my biggest problem with the film is that it suffers a little bit from and then storytelling. Like, this happened, and then this happens, and then this happens. It's not the way they laid it out. It's just, okay, now this, okay, now this, okay, now this. And it just feels like it's just happening. And so you don't understand why things are happening until later on in the movie. By the end of the movie, you kind of get why everything's happening, but it doesn't give it to you in an order that it makes sense at the time. And so for a lot of the movie, it just feels like and then storytelling. I also didn't often believe the motivations of the characters.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. They did do some explaining for my biggest gripe with not believing the motivation of some of the characters at the end.
This is my last thing. And the fact that you couldn't remember the Celestial's name, I can't remember his name. I can't remember half of the Eternals' names.
No.
I
can only remember Cersei.
Yeah, I remember Cersei and Icarus and Festus and Thena because they're all out of Greek mythology, and they explain kind of why that is. But that's the only reason I remember their names. I don't remember any of the other characters' names.
Otherwise, it's the Indian guy, the Chinese guy, the little girl, the white guy.
It was nice that they had such a diverse group of races come to Earth before any of those races actually existed on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And all of them speaking English. It's all a little funny, but that's not my complaint. My complaint is, in a really good ensemble film, you know everybody's name by the end of the movie. Star Wars, you knew their names by the end of the movie. Guardians of the Galaxy, I knew all those characters' names by the end of the film. That is a very well-made
really
ensemble
impressive.
film. And
He got it.
this is the first time we've introduced a whole new team since Guardians. And I'm not saying just because I remember their names, that's what makes it good. But that is an example of how to make a good film where you introduce an entire team in one movie. This one didn't pull it off.
Shall we rate it and then spoil it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Good, fine, bad.
I'm going to say this movie is fine, but leaning to the lower end of fine.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's fine, but it's not fine. It's fine.
It's definitely one of Marvel's lesser films.
I don't think you need to see this in theaters. You can wait till
Nah.
you can watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I would agree. You can give this one a miss. And it's also not going to affect anything in the MCU, at least not in the short term. Like somewhere down the line, it's going to matter. But it's probably going to be like 5 or 6 movies until it does. I was expecting this to maybe introduce Galactus or maybe the next like big bad of the MCU, but I don't think it did.
That's it. That's it, fellas. Because only men watch this. We don't actually allow women to watch this. We're going to spoil it now. Can I rant real quick about something?
Rant away.
Can we be done with the bad Superman trope? It would be more original now to go back to a good Superman than the bad Superman. We've done bad Superman too much. It's not interesting anymore.
Yeah.
We have it with that new Amazon cartoon. We have it with Brightburn. We have it with actual Superman in the Justice League. There's a live action Amazon where the bad guy's a Superman.
Yeah.
There's too many bad Supermans. It was interesting the first 10 times, okay? It's done. We're done with this, okay? I'd rather see Christopher Reeves. That's more original now than this. I'm sick of it.
Fair point. We're talking about Icarus here. Icarus is Superman. I mean, he doesn't move fast, but he flies, and he's super strong, and he shoots out of his eyes. He's Superman.
Yeah. And he does move kind of fast, because at one point he catches the Flash right in her face.
By the neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
And the one flashback scene that did work is the one with Icarus, where something significant happens in the flashback.
Yeah.
Where we realize that his motivations are aligned with the Celestials, because that's what he was supposed to do, and he was so committed to that he couldn't. Anyway, I liked that twist.
My problem with that twist is it's the Hans of the Southern Isle twist from Frozen. Suddenly, he's a bad guy. There's like nothing really that sets it up. All of a sudden, he's a bad guy. So, like, there were a couple things that happen along the way that give you the idea that he's not totally on board with some of the decisions people are making, but there's nothing that sets up until flashback. I mean, somebody says something to him and he says, "You don't know who I really am." Flashback, he's the bad guy. Flash forward, now he's the bad guy for the rest of the film.
Well, there was moments throughout the movie where I wondered what was going on, because always in the past, Superman is the leader of the Justice League. In this movie, he's never picked as the leader, and it seems deliberate, and it seems like it bugs him or something. And I did wonder a few times, that was something I was going to say about it that I liked, was kind of a Superman who is the most qualified to be the leader, but is forced with not being the leader. And I thought that was an interesting idea, and then they just made him bad Superman. But there was something going on with him that I thought was interesting. And I ultimately was a little disappointed with the way they went. But the flashback, not necessarily the way they went. But the flashback was a more useful flashback than any of the flashbacks.
Agreed.
In the movie. I've ranted for a bit now. Your turn.
Spoiler wise, I don't have much else to say. I think the film has problems. I'm not sure how I would have done it differently.
Can I say one other thing I wish they would have done differently? When the main leader of the Eternals dies and the new mantle of leadership is placed on Cersei. She has I guess they're visions of the big six-eyed guy. He explains that the reason why they created Earth was because that's how they create Celestials. They place, a shiny thing in the Earth and it becomes a Celestial. But it only can become a Celestial, I guess, if you fertilize it with human energy. At the end, one of the Eternals has the ability to possess other people. And they want him to possess the Celestial inside. And he's like, I'm not powerful enough. And then one of the guys is like, what if we all join hands and with our powers combined, we are the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're like, cool, we'll make these bracelets because that's how Marvel does everything. Time travel? Bracelets. Destroy Celestials? Bracelets. So we're going to make bracelets that will combine all their powers and then they'll do this thing. And there's one particular deviant who's very deviant. And he can absorb the powers of some of the Eternals. So one of them can heal. He kills that one. He takes the powers. Now he can heal. And there's a lot of stupid lines early on in the movie that are like, you see him heal. They go out of their way to show you that he's healing. And then somebody goes, did he just heal?
They've never been able to do that before.
And then later somebody dies, and then one of the guys comes up and says, it was a deviant. And you're like, no, duh. This is an Eternal, you idiot. Anyway. But, okay, I'm getting off track. I keep doing that. But there's a deviant who can absorb powers of all the people. Okay? At first, seems like the deviant's a bad guy, because they look scary. But as he absorbs powers, he becomes more human and has more,
more intelligence.
Yes. And so he absorbs a second person. He becomes bipedal suddenly. And then he can have deeper
also
thoughts.
Speak now.
So,
and he also absorbs their memories, apparently.
Yeah.
Thousands of years of memories.
I think there was a lot of interesting stuff with the deviants. And then they just kind of threw it away.
Yeah, the deviants are gone.
Yeah.
Until they're back.
So,
and then they're gone again.
When Superman becomes a bad guy, he comes into the room and the guy's like, I'm making the bracelets that are going to save the world. And then Superman's like, lasers, and destroys them. And he's like, bracelets are stupid. At that point, I thought, wouldn't it be interesting now that, the Deviant was trying to destroy the Eternals, and now the Eternals are trying to undo what they've been doing from the beginning. You would think that they might be able to have their purposes align, and they could use the ability that they've set up at the beginning of the movie of this deviant who can absorb powers, and now the magical bracelet's gone. It would have been way more interesting
if they had given their powers to him willingly and he had stopped the Celestial.
And he did it. That would have been super cool.
Yeah, that would have been a better... Because in the end, that guy is totally wasted.
He's just
Mr.
killed in a
Intelligent
cave.
Deviant, yeah, I mean, he sucks two of them dry, and it looks like they're going to do something with him. But then they stop doing stuff with him once the Celestial becomes the thing. And then Angelina dispatches him. Angelina Jolie just kills him like that in a cave, and that's the end of that guy.
And they were setting it up. Like, it was there. I was ready for it. Yeah. And he's wasted. There's some post-credit scenes that happen. And the worst computer animation that the MCU has ever had. is in the first post-credit scene of this movie.
And voiced by Patton Oswalt. And it is, you said...
It is jarring.
It is Final Fantasy levels of animation in the middle of a...
Or like Warcraft or
Marvel film.
It is like, what is going on?
I don't know.
here?
I've seen some Final Fantasy that has some really good animation, so I think this might be worse than that. This is like Final Fantasy 11
on the Super Nintendo. There's just a little 8-bit troll that comes out.
Yeah, I get it's just a mid-credit scene, but man, the rest of the movie looked so good, and then this really janky-looking elf thing comes out.
And then he says, I'm not the actual surprise of this. It's this guy who looks like Shazam, sort of. And he's like, I'm also an Eternal, and I can help you for the sequel. I don't know who that is.
He's Thanos' brother?
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think maybe he worked with Thanos in the past. Maybe they were pals, but like... Yeah.
He's not from Titan.
It was like the mid-credit scene, and I don't fully understand what it is, except that there's another Eternal, and he's going to help in the sequel. And he has an annoying, really poorly animated sidekick. And why don't you explain the post-credit scene?
So, Kit Harington's character, and I mentioned this to Josh at one point, I'm really surprised to see someone of Kit Harington's, like...
caliber.
Recognizability relegated to such a tiny role. I mean, at the beginning of the movie, he looks like just the mortal boyfriend of Cersei, and he's in the first, like, 5 minutes.
I'll take the stairs.
And then he's gone. Yeah. So at the end, I mean, he's about to tell Cersei something about himself. He has a weird genealogy, family history kind of a thing. And so it sounds like he's about to tell her he's not exactly a normal human. And then she gets pulled away.
I'm a wizard, Cersei.
Well, that's what he thinks she is.
That's why I would have loved it if he ended up being a wizard at the end of the movie.
No, so he's something, but we don't know what. But that last scene... He's got some mystical evil sword that's going to cause
can, like, talk
death
to him or
something, and it's wrapped up in mummy stuff. And he's about to touch it, and then somebody's like, "Sure, you want to do that?" And we don't know who said that to him, and that's the end.
That sounded like Sam Jackson to me.
I didn't think it sounded like him. Anyway, so I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you know. He has a mummy sword or something. That might mean something.
I'm sure the internet will tell us tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll find out, but not from us. We don't know anything beyond the regular Avengers at this point. So this is all brand new stuff for me. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody.
If you liked the video, you should like it.
Yes. Not just enjoy watching it. You should click the like button.
Yes. Make it blue.
And if you liked it and clicked the like button, you just might want to hear from us in the future. And subscribe. But if you subscribe, that doesn't really do anything, because you have to click the notification bell.
Click all the things. That'll help us out anyway. And you can watch our future stuff. We'll have more videos for you soon.
And in case we don't see ya,
good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Icarus flies into the sun.
Yes, it's a bit on the nose.
A little bit.